Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to a Living Album podcast. My name is Molly Gazay, and I am your host. On this episode, episode 3, we have an incredible guest here. His name is Marvin Glover. He is a composer, a singer-songwriter, a filmmaker, and has been in this industry for over 20 years. He has got a plethora of information, and he's going to be on this podcast not once, not twice, but 4 times this year. I'm so excited because he has so much knowledge. And in this particular episode, we talk about his Grammy nominated song, which we're gonna get to. It's a very cool song. I really, really like it a lot. And we also talk about the difference between BMI and ASCAP. I'm telling you, this guy knows so much, and we are so excited to have him on this show. If you've been enjoying these episodes, please go ahead and click the subscribe button for me, like this episode, like other episodes, and let us know what you think.
Let's break it down. I put some notes down, so I'm going to reference my notes. And so let's talk about lyrics, first of all, and then we'll go into the music and all those things, because they're interpretation, but this is my interpretation.
Wandering around with the lights off, baby. Guided by the wind down an empty road. Dig deep for the feelings you buried so long ago. Place them on a dartboard. Here's where the daggers throw.
So the lyrics are set to describe a journey of adventure or possibly symbolizing personal growth or change.
Yes, you are correct.
And then by breaking it down verse by verse, the reference to the dartboard and the daggers, for me, that implies that there might have been some pain or emotional challenge to be involved.
Yeah, I love this psychoanalysis of the song. This is a great breakdown.
Jumping into the chorus, the chorus emphasizes the need for breath, or to find a way back home. It suggests that during times of uncertainty or difficult, that you're taking moments to breathe and reconnect with oneself can be of help in navigating life's challenges. And then, going into the second verse, the second verse is, to encourage someone to take a risk, to jump into the unknown and explore what lies ahead, or even if it's uncertain. And, and my personal mantra is that, everything that you want is on the other side of fear.
Yeah, it's so true. And we have a connection to fear as humans too, don't we?
Yes. So that just kind of summarizes it. And the chorus, obviously, reemphasizes the breath part. And then the outro I found really interesting because it seems to express a sense of collaboration or release. Mm-hmm. The morning sugar, or it might symbolize the sweetest or sweetness of a day or a fresh start. And then, of course, the repetition to take it away with morning sugar and dance away with morning sugar suggests a joyful and liberating feeling.
I love that. You got that from that. It's funny. So literally, are you thinking that literally the sugar is like an actual morning sugar, like something you put in your coffee or something? Or is that what you were interpreting that part, or is it different?
I got it as a double entendre.
Oh, okay. Can you elaborate on that? I'm just so curious.
Yeah, because I took it as the physical item of, putting, as you mentioned, putting sugar into your coffee to add flavor, or like adding something to your existence or your being to enhance it.
Wow. Oh, cool. I love that, because that's I didn't even think that could be interpreted like that. That's amazing. Because in that part in particular, the morning sugar is it's a pet name. So I love that you're using it as a way of sweetening as this journey is collaborative now. Ooh, I love that. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's the synopsis of, or my interpretation of the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to dive into sonically, I can dive right into that as well.
You tell me everything and anything. That's the whole point of this podcast, is for the review of the song of the month. So you go for it, man.
Yeah. You know, on first listen, I was, you know, because piano's my first instrument. So, you know, I was immediately drawn to the piano. And then my producer hat went on because I produced records, you know, for years. And then I was like, as much as artists, especially myself, you know, I kind of retract from being compared to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, who do you sound like? What's your style? What's your genre? And a way for somebody to put in a box so that they can understand you. And of course, you know, I understand that because, you know, we need that. And as you know, just as coming back from South by Southwest, being at a film and music and tech and gaming conference, exposed to music, I found myself putting all the acts that I saw in a box because I was on hyperdrive seeing artists. So some days I would see up to 7 or 8 different artists. So for 4 or 5 days straight, I was consuming music, you know, as like in front of a fire hose, like, wow.
I love that.
You know, so it was just a constant stream of creativity and energy being thrust upon me, you know, willingly, like I was absorbing it.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So I first listened to your track. I was thinking of Evanescence.
Oh, I get Evanescence a lot. Which is like, so that's not what is it, like a surprise?
Yeah. So, but it was due to the dramatic nature of the structure of the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then the signature or the time change was, you know, because you're looking for breaks or reliefs in music as you're producing or you're constructing, or as a listener, it's like, where is this song going to take me? So it's either you're lyrically going to take them somewhere or musically or both. You know, it's up to the artist or the group of musicians that are collaborating together to interpret that. But then when you did the key change, I don't know if it's a key change because I didn't play it, but if it was a signature change, it was a time. I was like, oh, okay, this really caused me to stop, and it was kind of dissonant, but connected. So that's my sonic kind of overview.
Oh, I love it. I love it because, yeah, like I said, I do get a lot of Evanescence. That is something I have gotten from childhood till now. And I love Lee. So, like, not a bad comparison. That's great. And I'm really glad that did it feel like the journey was like you were a part of the journey at some point, or were you a spectator in the journey?
A bit of both, because I had, you know, I'd listened to it. I just gave it a cursory overview once just to absorb it. And then I went back in and then I listened to the lyrics, you know, and along with the music. And then I dove in and really deconstructed the lyrics and what you're saying as I gave my presentation. So that's how I kind of analyzed it. So, you know, most songs meant to grow on you as an artist. So you need to listen to them several times before you get them, you know, because you take new bits of information in from the artist, you know, with each new listen.
It's true. It's true. Well, I love that. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen to it, especially on your very busy weeks that you've been having. And then for the listeners, if you were to give one, like, if you were a music critic and you were to give like a raving review of the song for people to listen to the song, like, what would your like review tagline be? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
Sonic turbulence with hope.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Well, I listened since then this is a little surprise for you. I listened to No Last Call for Love.
Another night serving a drink at the bar, thinking about the papers left in the car.
Okay.
And I loved it. It like has like this 80s nostalgic like white snake sound to it that like really was fun.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know why I got that out of it, but like I did. Like I got like so many different like 80s ballad hair bands. And it was great. And you have such a wonderful voice. It's very smooth and it's got like this depth to it that like it's higher. It's like it's not quite high pitched. It's not quite low pitched. It's like somewhere in between. So it's just like this beautiful, easy listening voice that just kind of tells the story as it is. But you know, you hit all these beautiful marks in your voice, and I was like, wow, I really love this, and it's such a touching song. And I was wondering, like, when you were writing this, it's got such a contrast between like love, right? And then the last call at a bar. And like the last call is very abrasive. It's like, all right, last call. They turn on the lights, you know, they're like, get out of here, you know, in 5 seconds. And then love has just got this, you know, beautiful and joyful and painful sometimes, but like that bittersweetness to it. So what, and like I said, I listened to the song a couple times and I didn't break it down the way that you did, but I found so many beautiful moments and I wanted to know, like, what was it about this song that you found so powerful and why did you write it?
Well, this is interesting. The song No Last Call for Love is written from, it's the end credit song to a motion picture called Last Call at Murray's. So the song is, it stars Michael Gross from, you might know him from Tremors, or you might from Mr. Keating from Family Ties.
Yep.
And John Savage, who is, of course, from numerous things, Hair, Godfather 3. I'm thinking of the De Niro film.
Oh, yeah. He was in like tons of stuff in the 70s. Maria's Lover, Hair, The Onion Field, Inside Moves, Little Boy Blue, White Squall, The Deer Hunter. I saw The Deer Hunter. I owned that on DVD.
That's the film I'm thinking about.
Oh, that's funny. I'm like, that was the first one and I skipped over. I was like, that's probably not it. That's so cool.
Yeah, so if John hears this, he's probably going to slap me next time I see him. or his wife.
She asked. It's entertainment. Come on.
When you work in the creative space, you know, I'm a film producer and director as well as a music composer and singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
So when you straddle the gamut, you are around names and icons all the time. So I don't get, you know, consumed like, oh my God, it's Beyonce. It's like, okay, it's in no disrespect to Beyonce, I love Begs. But yeah, so that song was written and crafted from a script. So the director and writer of the film, her name is Linda Palmer. And so she asked me to produce the film with her. And so I produced it. And then she goes, would you be the music supervisor and music coordinator? And then she says, will you write the end credit or open credit song for the film? And then I wound up scoring the film as well. And so that's how I got my Grammy acknowledgement, was for that particular song.
What? That's
so that was in 2017 or 2018. So yeah, that's one of my claims to fame and what kind of set me on the next path of my trajectory as an artist, is that song from that film. So it's still streaming, it's still out worldwide, it's still, you know, probably one of the key songs in my catalog.
It's such a good song, and I can see why it won a Grammy, or like you got nominated for a Grammy for it.
The lyrics are taken from the scripts. So when you got a 120-page script, I had to go through it and had to take all the themes that occur within this hour and a half long movie, or 120-page script and consolidate down to a page of lyrics and a song.
I commend you. I think it's so cool. And I was going to ask you, like, how was your process? Because I've written 2 songs now for TV pilot and for an indie film. And they're 15, 20 minutes max, like it's not a 120-page script trying to like consolidate everybody's like feelings in this one movie. Even though I think I did a pretty good job, but but still, like, it's a huge, I think it's a huge difference between like a feature and a short and like a TV pilot, because they all have different things that go into it. So that's so like, I'm like, now I have like all these notes. I was like, how did it make you feel? Was this a part of a person? And I'm like, now I don't even have to ask any of those. So I'm like, well, So how did you approach? So this is great, actually, because like for people who do get approached to write music for a movie, how did you approach writing the song for the movie? And then how was the process with you and the filmmaker in the creation of it?
It's layered. So, first of all, when somebody gives you a script and asks you to craft a song to be used as a credit, because, the opening credit and the end credit are the 2 big spots, to have your song played. And then, of course, it can be in a scene, in a song. But, for it to be nominated or considered, it can't have lyrics. I mean, it can't have dialogue over it. So it's a standalone piece that's written specifically for a project. So when I was faced with that challenge of the task, it's overwhelming, it's daunting. And then, of course, like all things, you say, when do you need it? And then they give you a deadline. And then the pressure is really on, because it's not as if you have 6 months. You may have 6 days or 2 weeks to do this. And so my writing partner and I proposed it to him. I says, okay, Greg, we have an opportunity to kind of elevate ourselves professionally by writing this. And then we took the script down and we read it, and then we talked about it. And then we had a contact with the producers and the writer and the director of the film, and just to make sure that we're on track with what our interpretation was. And then we came up with some lyrics, and we just pulled up the acoustic. And then we just started working from there. So we had to kind of summarize because the film is a cast, an ensemble cast. So there's all these different players or people. People come into the bar, leave totally different than when they came, because they're trapped in the bar when a freak snowstorm happens. So it's about all the inner conflict with the people that are involved in the film, or the characters in the film. So there's a couple of military guys. They're super macho young guys, and there's a bartender, assistant to the bartender, and then there's Murray, who's played by Michael Gross. He's planning to close the bar that night and retire because of smoking ordinances and changing laws, and business is bad. And so he's planning to have close, and he wants to have to stay open. And all these characters flood in here because they're trapped. And then a couple is coming in, and they wind up leaving with different people or engaging with different people.
Wow. Was this a spoiler alert?
So all kinds of and listen to the song, or what you need to watch the film. And of course, the music video is out there. It's on YouTube and it's on my website. It's a beautiful music video, and we use footage from the film as a gift. So that's great production value for the film when you've got a master DP, director of photography, shooting your film, and then you're interpreting it in using the footage in your film, from the film, in your music videos. Most people do that. So I was thinking of Top Gun. Tom Cruise gave the guys the opportunity to use the footage and make a music video for Top Gun, of course, which they did. So
that's so cool. I didn't know that.
That's rare.
Oh yeah, no, that's amazing. So like when you like started to write, so you and Greg started to write the song. So how long did it take you to write this song?
I think we did the song in probably a day or two.
What?
And we did a couple 4-hour chunks, I think, because usually we write in 4-hour chunks. We don't try to push it over as 5, 6, 7 hours. That's just, you start to lose productivity and the fresh ideas become stifled. So we limit ourselves to like 4 hours. So we kind of came with the structure and recorded a little demo of it. And then we came back and I think we refined it on the second day. And then we sent the demo of just the acoustic version to the production team and they approved it. And then from there, we brought our friends in and then we added the other elements and flourishes and then refined it.
I think that's so awesome. So wait, so like from start to finish, you did this like 3 days, maybe 2 days.
Yeah. I'd say 3 days to write it. And then after we did the other pieces, like the instrumental, the organs and those kind of things, because it's kind of sparse. It's meant to be sparse. It's meant to convey or evoke that kind of emblematic theme of like a film soundtrack. We wanted to have that kind of big, robust kind of, you're sitting in a dark theater, you're watching all the credits, you're watching the hundreds of people that have been on this film, and then we've got your attention. So this song and this voice, this is going to be all that you're consumed with besides reading that. So
yeah, what an amazing like spot too. And I love that you mentioned sparse because it is like in a bar, right? Like in a deserted bar at night, it makes sense to have that like sparseness in the music, but it is also very full with a lot of emotion. And I feel like that's kind of like the
right
of a bar.
Right. Well, also, when I scored the film and I was music supervising. So the source music for there, whereas I was using all my friends' songs, everybody that was a musician, a friend of mine had a CD or EP or single out, I was sourcing them and say, hey, I have a great opportunity for you because there's only bar music. So there's a jukebox. So we're picking all these songs. I think there was over 100 song cues in this film.
Wow.
So I was sourcing all those songs.
That is so cool.
Yeah. And yeah. So they didn't have a budget. So I was going out to, a couple hundred of my friends that are musicians saying, hey, I've got an opportunity to place your song in this film. It's like, we don't have a huge budget, but, we can, work with you to compensate you in some way, shape, manner. But this is going to be a major feature film that's going to be released worldwide. And so, of course, the publishing side of it's like, even if I'm not paying you hundreds or thousands of dollars, you're still going to get publishing. So every place it streams or every theater streams in or plays in a crawl, BMI or ASCAP or CSAC is going to be sending you some money.
Okay, cool. That's a great segue into like some of your expertise too, because I only have one song on ASCAP right now because I wasn't sure exactly what ASCAP did and like what the whole thing is. So for people who are listening to this podcast who are trying to get their music out and they have their recordings and they're like, should I go to BMI? Should I go to ASCAP? Like, could you give like an overall synopsis of what you've experienced with these particular companies?
Sure. They're all great publishing companies. When I first did my first record, I was going to publish my songs with a writer with a performance rights organization. I was torn between which one I wanted to go with. And I personally chose to go with BMI because of their history of working with women and minority artists.
Do your homework.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So that was the reason. That's the original reason that I chose to go with BMI. And it's not to say that ASCAP is not bad. It's bad. They're not. I mean, I have total respect for them. And of course, being a member of the Recording Academy and, for 20 years now, I understand those things. And of course, having a background in IP law, and understanding what music publishing is and how streaming works and how royalties and rights, performance rights and rights clearances, I'm well versed on that. So.
Well, we're gonna have you come back because, like, for everyone listening, Marvin is gonna be coming back multiple times throughout the year because he's such a freaking expert in all these different fields that we have to have you back to talk about these things. Because I've gone online and I've looked at some of the YouTubes about BMI and ASCAP, and I've never heard the history aspect of it, which is great. But it's also like, as a performer, it's like, it's kind of anxiety. Like, I feel like a little bit of anxiety where it's like, which one should I go to? Which one's going to be right? So like, what is BMI and ASCAP doing for the artist, and how does that show up? Like in terms of like, I don't know how to say it, like the laws around music, like what are they meant to be there for?
So their performance rights are, and you'll hear the term thrown around in circles as you mature in the industry, called PRI or PRO, performance rights organization. So, you should affiliate with one of those, whether it be SZAC, whether it be ASCAP, whether it be BMI. So for every song that you do, you can join and affiliate yourself as a writer or as a performer, and then as a writer. And then I went the next step further and established my own publishing company. So I own the publishing. So for those of you that want to create your own label and be the owners of your own work, and it's more administrative, it's more laborious, then you're managing your own materials. And so then you can go out and sell or license or promote your songs to other artists through that form. It's just the next step to be involved with it.
So like what you're saying is, like, if you establish your own production company, you can then retain the rights to allow other people to use the music, and you're still signed up with BMI, who's the organization that has like the database of the music.
It's publishing. It's a publishing company. So if you sign a general record release or record agreement, I call it agreement, not contract. But if you're signing a contract or agreement with a publisher or with a record label / publisher, then they will have a certain control the rights to your music and catalog. Such as say, you are the Beatles, you've written all the songs and you've signed with EMI London, and EMI is part of Capitol and Capitol Records. And then they own the catalog to the Beatles in exchange for their forking at the money to promote the Beatles. So they, in turn, as each person that writes a song on a Beatles album, whether it's George Harrison gets 2 songs and Paul and John get, 5 songs and Ringo gets 1 song, whatever, I think most bands like that do. Fleetwood Mac, others do it like that way. A certain artist gets a certain number of songs if they're writing, or if they're writing together, it's always Lennon and McCartney. And that's how they established themselves with their PRO. And so Lennon's name always comes before McCartney's. And so therefore, those monies are tied in to sell the rights to the catalog, which eventually in the 80s, Michael Jackson came and acquired the Beatles catalog, through a joke when he got smart to what was all involved. So he had his team go out and spend millions of dollars and buy the catalog, and then he owned the rights to it. So, Paul's still getting a check for all the songs, and John's getting a check for all his songs. But Michael Jackson was also getting a bigger chunk because he could sell that song for commercials or for films or whatever vehicle somebody wanted to use a Beatles song for. But there's also a thing called a compulsory license. Now, a compulsory license is where you can do a cover of somebody's song, and you can go through an organization called Harry Fox would be probably the most major one. And then Harry Fox can give you a compulsory license, and that gives you the right to record and license a song from somebody and make so many copies of it. Not talking digital, but either if you're making a physical album or physical CD or physical cassette, you could make, I think it's 1,000, and then it allows you to make up to 1,000 copies for a bulk price. And then after that, then you're paying a bump up for the next 1,000 to whatever that number is. So that's a compulsory license.
Okay, cool. I mean, that clarifies so much. I was like, I'm like, what is going on with these people? I don't really quite understand. So that's awesome. And thank you so much for that clarification of everything. And like, we've got about a few minutes left. So do you want to plug some of your stuff? Because we're going to have you come on and everyone should be listening to you. So we'll have you come back on and talk some more. I have so many questions, so many more, but we're going to hold off. So if you want to tell us about your Instagram and your YouTube and where people can go and stalk you, because I loved stalking you and watching all this stuff.
Yeah. So my record label and my publishing company is called Starving Dog Records. marvinglover.com. You know, I have Marvin Glover. I'm the first Marvin Glover claim.
Yep, you were just straight up.
You can Google Marvin Glover. I would like to talk about or promote a project that I'm working on right now that's very near and dear to me, and it's a documentary film called The Black Winemaker Story.
Oh,
and that's in her Black. Yeah, it's Black Winemakers Story.com.
Well, thank you so much for being a guest on A Living Album. I am so excited to have you on many more times throughout the year to get just like squeeze all the knowledge out.
Feel free to reach out, and you know, I'm also scoring that documentary film, and I'm writing a song for that film as well. So you know, I'm working with artists of all genres. Because it's a period piece, it covers from the 1800s to present day. So I'm looking for a whole scope of music over time period. And then you know, people of color, if you're out there, or women, you know, definitely I want to hear from you, because I'm always looking to uplift and provide a voice for the people that are underrepresented, not misrepresented, but underrepresented. And
That's perfect. Well, guys, check Marvin out and go check out all his stuff. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Goodbye now.
Goodbye.
Wandering around with the lights off, baby. Guided by the